This season is about finishing so that we feel at least positive about ourselves.
Nigel, we have 3 games remaining starting with Luton Town on Sunday. What do you want to see to be satisfied with the rest of this campaign?
I would like to see a response in terms of how we go about playing the games for 95 minutes every time that we play. We've had spells in games where we've done okay, and then we've, as I said the other night, a bit of an Achilles heel for us in terms of conceding goals, allowing other teams to dominate us, and it's that remains a real frustration. And I'm not suggesting that some players aren't trying, but we have a situation at the moment where we're just basically not doing enough, and that's not an easy thing to admit. But I've always been a solution-based type of person. It clarifies some issues. I think we all recognise that there are areas that we need to strengthen. But of course, at the moment, don't have the full picture because we have so many players that are currently missing. So this season is about finishing so that we feel at least positive about ourselves. And at the moment, we can't do that because of our form, but in terms of results, but also performances throughout the entirety of a game are just not what we want at the moment.
What you're coaching, physical and technical things
are
probably relatively simple to do on the coaching and on the training field. Game management and what players do when they cross the white line and in game, is that in some ways the hardest thing to create that?
Yeah,
knowing what to do.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, look, I have to look at this with a pretty rounded view as well. We've got a lot of young players out there who we are have quite a heavy weight of responsibility on them. Some of our players who if you think are regulars in the side, people like Zach Viner, for instance, who's still a very young player, and yet there's when we talk about youngsters, we're thinking about some of the guys from the under-23s who have made the debuts recently, but we've still got a number of players who are currently some of our top-end performers who are having to deal with the pressures of being in a side that can't win games. Now, that's never an easy thing to come through, and but it's I think in the longer term they will benefit from it. But we are asking some of our players to provide the foundation for success, and it's a big ask for some of them. But look, that's not to say I think they're capable of doing it, and what we have to do for the rest of this season. I mean, we're down to 3 games left, and it remains a frustration for, I think, everybody. I think our fans in particular have questioned us, and I fully understand that, and I think they're right to do that. But what we need to do is respond to that in the right way, and so words like pride come into it, and your self-esteem. You've got to make sure that we answer our critics with at least the right intentions. And I think sometimes, look, I would much rather us fail giving 100% and at least showing the attributes that we're looking for. And I think at the moment, there's an element of fear as well, and players who are fearful of making mistakes will make more mistakes. So it's not a straightforward problem to solve, but I think it depends on how you look at things. If you're somebody who who looks for the answers rather than, I was very angry the other night and frustrated, but you've got to get over that and start looking for to find solutions, and that's really how I approach my job. And I don't like criticism myself, but the best way to get round it is, or to come through it, is to continue to work hard to find those solutions.
You get it all out on paper, problem solver, Nigel, or do you kind of sort of, is it all in the mind, or do you talk it through at length with the coaches? How do you go about problem solving as a manager?
I seek people's opinions. So some of it is to process these sorts of situations. Sometimes it is about talking through the technical side of it, of course. But I talk to people I trust. I try and take on board other people's opinions, but ultimately there's got to be a clarity to the message, and it just remains a frustration for us, because I think we all believe that we should be achieving more here, but we're not, and you can't hide from that. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. There's no point hiding from the fact that we aspire to be a top-flight club, and the foundations are there, but what we haven't got at the moment is the detail of the most important part of that, and that is the playing squad that's capable of producing performances throughout the entirety of a season. So I said the other night, I think historically we have this sort of a trend of doing okay and then trailing off, and that's something that we need to address moving forward. So again, it's we've got to live in the moment, and we've got to try to find solutions for what is the immediate problem, that is our form and getting results. But the bigger picture is something a little bit different.
In your experience, you're not afraid of this challenge at all, are you, Nigel?
No, I wouldn't be here if I was afraid of it. I think when you go through periods like this, hey, if you don't question yourself, then there's something inherently wrong with you. I mean, you have to question both method and how you process things. And I do believe that in a work environment, it's really important to have a culture within the club where people are prepared to challenge each other. What I do find, though, is that at times like this, people go into safety mode, and they start to just try and make sure they're doing their own job. That's where we need a shift in how we work. There's some good people here, but that doesn't happen overnight.
So is that a case of doing what's right than perhaps who is right, as it were?
I suppose so. To a certain extent, it's Look, I like to look at the bigger picture, but I'm certainly not naive. I know that our results aren't good enough at the moment, and we have a bit of uncertainty around us at the moment in terms of futures of people at the club. But hey, get on with it and deal with it. That's my view on it. I'm not, I don't really. If you spend time concentrating on things like that, then actually that says something about you as well. So for me, I'm not bothered about that. It's we need to we need to find the solutions, or be brave enough at least to admit our shortcomings, and that's the most important thing.
The team we're going to have to really get at is Luton Town. High energy players. People like Keenan Dewsbury Hall, the guy they've signed up front, Elijah Adebayo. Another physical, hard-working team we're facing. And we don't have a big pack to shuffle at the minute, so it will be it'll be interesting to see our players respond again. Luton have had a good season, but really, again, we've got to talk about our own, the reasons that we're not doing as well as we should be is because of us.
It's not really necessarily about the teams that we play against. So I think first and foremost we need to maximise what we have, and we haven't done that. I mean, it's fairly straightforward this season. I think for where we aspire to be and where we are, there's there is a difference at the moment that we need to work hard to address.